Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are you? I'm just trying to take some last minute notes. Let me grab my folder so I can know what I want to say to y'all. Thank you, Justin, for coming through with all of the cool stuffs for me. I appreciate that. You are amazing. You are a scholar as well as a gentleman. Well, I don't know what your pronouns are, so if I am wrong, I apologize. All right, welcome everyone. If you are new here, good morning, JB. How are you? If you are new here, my name is Danae. I am a spiritual guide and mentor. I'm also a certified life coach. I'm also an end of life doula. My spiritual gifts are clairvoyant and empath, aka psychic medium. And today we are going to move forward in our lesson where we are completing a total life transformation so that we can be the hero in our own journey. We can take control of our destiny and we can fulfill our life's purpose. I received a message in my DMs that I speak too quickly. I agree. So today I'm going to practice slowing down my speech and really just trying to focus in on what I am discussing. Let's see, what do I want to do? Confirm. All right, just so that you guys know, I am trying to collect as many chilies as possible, at least 20. So whoever sends the most superpowers will receive an intuitive reading. Distractions. So send me a DM at the end of this session and we'll schedule you your free intuitive reading. I do use tarot cards to connect to spirit, so just be aware of that. Tarot cards as well as oracle. So we're gonna pin that. Okay. So I wanted to read something to you guys really quick that I found, and I feel like it goes really, really well with what we're going to be discussing today in regards to changing your brain so that you can change who you are, okay? So just flow with me really quick, all right? The brain is made up of billions of tiny nerve cells called neurons that all connect together through a network of over 1 trillion tiny branches made up of dendrites, which are the receivers, and axons that are the transmitters. Every time we think or act, it is because these neurons are communicating by sending signals through their dendrites all the way to whatever locations are needed to trigger the cells to act. The signal itself is a chemical called a neurotransmitter, and these signals are responsible for every step you take, for your heart beating, and for your thoughts and emotions. Okay? So I thought that was really interesting. That's not something that I've even thought about probably since like junior high school, you know, with the neurotransmitters and the myelin sheaths and this, that, and the third. But it went very well with what we're going to talk about. It goes very well with what we're going to talk about, because in order for you to change your brain, you need to understand that when you repeat a behavior, an action, an emotion, or a thought over and over again, the pathway responsible for sending the signal becomes stronger, right? And it becomes easier and easier. So it's just like how they say, if you repeat something for 21 days in a row, it then becomes a habit, right? And then if you repeat it for another 21 days, it just becomes something that you naturally do over and over again. Okay, so so by doing those things, by practicing what you're trying to change, that is how habits are developed, or formed rather. And it's also how emotional triggers are created and negative patterns are formed. So whether the outcome is good or bad, whatever you do repeatedly changes the physical workings of the neural connections of your brain. All right? I just thought that was really, really interesting. I think that the human brain itself is probably one of the most amazing and powerful tools that we have been blessed with. So, understanding and knowing how it works is really beneficial, especially when it comes to when you're trying to change not just who you are really, but like your perspective. When you're trying to change how you do things, when you're trying to transform and become a new person or create a new story. Does that make sense? So, yesterday we started talking about the growth mindset. And today I want to really deep dive into the steps on how you can develop a growth mindset. And as you guys know, I'm always drinking my water. And 10:10 on the clock. I'm always drinking my water. I have my vitamins in there. And I've noticed that as I get older, taking pills no longer works for me. So I have to take liquid vitamins. And I found that these particular liquid vitamins by a brand called Mary Ruth's Organics gives me so much more energy during the day that I'm able to now keep up with my 3-year-old and run around with my 13-year-old and like have no problems. I used to just be like, oh, it's 6 o'clock, it's time for bed. But now I'm like, oh, let's go. Oh, you want to play Barbies? Oh, you want me to watch you play your video games for however long? Right? So take your vitamins, y'all. They're good for you. Your vitamins and your minerals. All right. I digress. Thank you for everyone joining. Hi, Scorpio. Hey, how are you? Stephanie, how are you? Miss Happy, Miss Raina, Gemini Gypsy, Madison. Welcome, everyone. I did not mean to send you an invite. So sorry. Welcome, Laverne. How are you doing? Welcome, Betty. How are you doing? Okay, so developing a growth mindset. The first step is awareness, right? So everyone has an internal voice, okay? And a part of this voice is like your inner hater, right? It is that protagonist that sits on your left shoulder. In my opinion, it's kind of like, in the cartoons back in the day when they'd have the angel on the right shoulder and they'd have the devil on the left shoulder, right? So your inner hater is going to be that devil, that energy that's always spitting out venom and flames and fire. And that is what I would attribute where the limiting beliefs come from. All right. So as I go through today, I'll go back and forth between like the limiting belief, the devil on the shoulder, or what is in a more technical term would be the fixed mindset persona. I'll go back and forth between those three, but it basically means the same thing. All right. So you can hear this persona within the negative self-talk that happens in your thoughts and mind, right? So it's going to sound like I'm not good enough, right? I'll probably fail. I can't do this. I don't want to take the risk because I'm just not good enough. I should just quit right now. I'm never going to be able to make it. I'm not smart enough. I don't understand this. I'll never understand this. Everything is my fault. I'm a failure. Things like that. Or if you're in a challenging situation, you might say something like, this situation really makes me uncomfortable, so I'm not going to do it, right? So as you're going through, or if you're having those types of limiting beliefs, I want you to understand that those limiting beliefs are things that come naturally because you have essentially created a habit of allowing the negative self-talk to enter your brain and not stopping it. Okay? The important key to stopping limiting beliefs is to recognize when it's happening and stopping it, right? So if you were to be doing something and you're like, oh, I'm not good at this, I can't do this. As soon as you have that thought, you say, I could do anything. You know, you literally have to talk to the thought as if it is coming from a real live human being that is in your presence. Now, this is what I do. A real life human being that is in your presence telling you that you can't do it, and you're just be like, shut up. Yes, I can. I can do anything that I want to do. I am amazing. I am great. I am talented. I am creative, right? That's what I do. As soon as I start having that negative self-talk or limiting belief or having the fixed persona mindset, you know, I stop it in its tracks and I say, no, I can do this. I even had a dream once where this persona like showed itself as a person. In the dream, I had bought a house and I had to do a lot of work on the house. And as I was walking out of the basement, this person is following me. And they're like telling me, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're not good enough. And in the dream, I'm literally turning around and I'm taking control of the dream. And I'm saying, stop. You are the only person here who thinks that I cannot do what I want to do. I am successful. I bought this house. I'm going to be able to make the necessary upgrades and changes that I want to. So I'm going to need you to shut the F up. Like, that's what I said in the dream. And it like dissipated like a whirling of smoke or whatever. It was really quite amazing. And I was super proud of myself. But I say all that to say that you have to take control of your thoughts. All right. You have to tell them when you know that when your thoughts are not serving you, you have to take control and you have to make those thoughts stop, right? Again, just imagine them as if they are real people talking to you. So, when you are developing your growth mindset and you are becoming more aware of your negative self-talk or your limiting beliefs, it is important that you try to identify your triggers. Okay. So, what things happen in your day to day that trigger you to have the fixed mindset persona? And again, the fixed mindset persona is the negativity that you think about yourself, the negative thoughts that you think about yourself. It's also the idea that you cannot change, that you only have the abilities to do what you were born with, or whatever abilities you had when you were born, that's all that you get. There's no way to change. There's no way to grow. All right. That's what that thought process is like. So, some things to ask yourself would be, when you're thinking about taking on a big challenge or learning something new, what does your fixed mindset persona say to you, right? Or when you're thinking about making a change, or when someone criticizes you, or when you fail at something, or when something goes wrong. What are some of the things that your fixed persona will say? Or are these even things that trigger your fixed persona to come about? So does it always happen? Does it sometimes happen? Does it never happen? That's how you're going to determine what your triggers are. All right. So for me, my trigger was being criticized by people who I perceived to be stronger or better than me, right? Even if it was someone who was higher up than me at my place of employment, if they criticized me, whether if it was constructive or not, I would then become, not only would I be saddened by the whole situation, but I would begin to think, oh, well, they're right. I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not able to do these things, But then I came across a teaching somewhere on YouTube where people who know that you are essentially higher than them, not necessarily higher than them in the job, but let's just say they think that you are better than them, then they are going to do things to try to make you feel like you are lower than them. Does that make sense? I hope I'm explaining this correctly. So I'll give you an example. So let's just say you are someone who is married to a narcissist. And if that narcissist believes that you are better than them, then they will say things to you to make you feel as if you are inferior to them. And they do that because they want to have control over you, or they really just want you to submit to what they want to do. And they want you to believe that you need them in order to move forward, because they want you to believe that you are less than, or that you lack what you truly have, when in all actual reality, in regards to levels of things, you're probably a lot better than them, a lot stronger than them, a lot smarter than them. You're a lot of everything more than them. So people who are above you, in a sense, who are afraid of your abilities, will do what they have to do, or say things to you to keep you in a space of feeling that you are less than. All right. I hope I'm explaining this to you all. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. And if you are here, please send some likes. Also, share this live so that people will, so that I can get on the algorithm and people can see what I'm doing here. And then I'll, it really helps. It really helps when you guys like the videos and you share and you follow me and all that other good stuff. It really helps my, it really helps my, I guess, channel, right? So that I can be put on the algorithm. And as always, these lessons are for free, but if you do feel it in your heart to send a donation, you can send donations to my Cash App, which is Goddess Revival 3333. All right. Now, the second step for developing a growth mindset is your perspective. So you may not always be able to change what's happening around you. Let me move some of this stuff out the way. You may not always be able to change what is happening around you, but you have the choice to determine how you're going to respond or react. Also, you have the ability to choose how you're going to view the situation. So when you catch yourself, when you catch your fixed mindset persona with a limiting thought, you should ask yourself, what else might be going on here? What is more realistic and optimistic way to look at this situation? What are the good aspects of the situation, and how can I look at this differently? And you can really do that with really anything where you're feeling like less than. I would recommend utilizing this technique or this tool, especially if you're feeling like you're not doing the best that you can do in regards to maybe your job or your parenting, or just maybe if you have any type of entrepreneurial goals, kind of reassess the situation. Like, why are you feeling the way that you feel? Why are you feeling so negatively? And what are the positive aspects that you could be bringing in or remembering? Or how do I say? Take a moment and relax and assess the situation and look at everything from a positive perspective, right? So I'll give an example. Let's say you are feeling like you are struggling with keeping your house clean. It may not even be that you're struggling with keeping your house clean. It may be that the people in your home are not being respectful to you and what you're trying to do in maintaining a clean home. They're not being respectful to you by not cleaning up after themselves, right? I can attest to that, where I've had, I will clean the kitchen, close down the kitchen, and when I wake up in the morning, there's like crumbs on the counter from where one of the kids didn't respect my boundaries with having the kitchen closed, and they went and got a late night snack. And so now there's crumbs all over the place, and they didn't think that they should clean it up, So it's not really that. So you can look at things from a different perspective. It's not always just you. There could be other significant factors that could be attributing to how you're perceiving things going in a negative manner. All right. So always be on the lookout for any time you hear your fixed mindset taking over your internal dialogue, such as reactions to triggers that you have allowed yourself to identify. and any type of thoughts. And just understand that you can change your perspective to have a growth mindset. Okay. So when you hear yourself thinking about something, like, say your negative self-talk has you going down this alley of, what if you're not good enough? You'll be a failure. A way that you can take control of those thoughts is to change them. You can change it to, everyone starts out not being good and successful, and people will fail along the way, right? You just have to flip the script, right? And turn your negative self-talk into positive self-talk. If you were to hear yourself thinking, something like, if it's this hard, then you're probably not good enough anyway, right? You can change it to, if it's hard, it seems I need to put in more effort, and it will be a great achievement when I get good at it. You see what I'm saying? Things like that can really help you when it comes to changing your perspective of situations. All right? Another one is, when you hear yourself thinking, if I don't try, I can't fail and will keep my dignity, then you can change it to, if I don't try, I have already failed and I have no dignity. That's a good one. I really like that one. Just keep trying. It's kind of like that. I'm hearing that little song by Dory from Finding Nemo, and she's just like, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Like, no matter what is happening, just keep going, keep working at what you're trying to do, right? And I'll share something with you guys as well. Your fixed persona, your limiting beliefs, your negative self-talk, not only is it attributed to areas within your shadow that you have not, it's not that you haven't developed them, but you haven't healed them. You haven't looked at that space as to where that negativity comes from. But it is a part of your ego trying to protect you from the unknown. Your ego, our ego gets a bad rap. I'm going to say that. It gets a bad rap, right? Where it's like, oh, you're so in your ego, you're so full of yourself, this, that, and the third. But sometimes your ego was created to protect you, and it doesn't realize that it's hindering your growth sometimes. It is afraid of depending on what you have experienced in your life, your ego was created to protect you from the things that you may have seen or experienced. It doesn't want you to feel that pain again. But in doing so, it doesn't know that it's hindering you, right? It doesn't know that change is always happening. It doesn't know that change can be good, right? It doesn't put change and growth or transformation and healing together. It just knows that, and I'll give an example. It just knows that if you move, you're not going to have your same friend group, and you've been with these friends for so long, and having to meet new people is scary because the last time that you moved from a friend group, you had to meet all new people, and that was scary, and you didn't like it because it was change and because you didn't know what to expect, and you were unsure if people were going to like you. See, so your ego is like trying to protect you from all of that. So you have to push through. You have to like push through the ego saying no, right? And sometimes, just having a conversation, having that heart to heart where your higher self meets your ego, and you have that conversation, and you're just kind of like, hey girl, hey, we need to have a talk. We need to move on. We need to grow. We need to be open to receiving new opportunities that can expand our lives and can bring new success into our lives. So yes, in the past, we have had negative experiences and we have had scary experiences, but look at us. We are still here. We are still living. We are still thriving. And now here is a new opportunity for us to change or transform or to take on a venture of healing. And it can only get better. Let's stop being fearful of the unknown and just kind of walk through the door. We have to remember that there is nothing for us that anyone else can like take away. If it's for you, you're going to receive it regardless if you like it or not. So you can either walk through this new door that's opening for you, or you can wait for the universe to open it for you. And when they open it, they might be like, well, we're going to open this now. We were trying to let you go through it easily, but now we're going to open the doors and we're going to just push you through. And you're not going to necessarily have stable footing. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's go on to step 3, which is taking action. So the most important factor in developing a growth mindset is to take action. All right. And so with anything that you're trying to do, any goals or desires that you have, you know that you have to identify the steps that you want to take. Identify the steps you will take when preparing for new goals or desires, or even when you have challenges or you're having limiting beliefs. Okay. This is like where the fun part comes, and you get to start practicing, right? So how do you practice a growth mindset? You can start by creating your own affirmations. You know, something like, I have a growth mindset. Challenges, risks, and failures are opportunities for me to grow and improve. Things like, I move past the discomfort of making mistakes quickly because I learn the lessons and allow it to help me improve so I can be better next time. Another affirmation might be, I am the master of my thoughts, emotions, and actions. Now, these are just examples. You guys can write your own. But just know that when you are identifying the steps that you will take when facing challenges or having limiting beliefs, it is important that you, how do I want to say it? Okay. When you hear the limiting beliefs, or you hear the voice of the fixed persona mindset, ask yourself, right? What did you learn from the experience? What could you do differently next time or going forward, right? So when your ego is like trying to stop you from doing things or trying to make you feel like, things are just too much or you're too scary, sit back and figure out like, well, where is this all coming from? What would help you achieve the goal if you haven't tried? What do you need to learn, or what information do you need to gather? And then like, what steps will you take? What are some of the things that you need to do? Or what are some of the things that you need to identify when I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought, y'all. I am so sorry. Let me get back on track. List out the steps that you will take for each one of these things that you are doing to identify exactly when and identify exactly when you will do it. I hope that makes more sense. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm such a freaking human, But nonetheless, just a quick recap. Anytime that you are having limiting beliefs, identify that you're having the limiting belief. Change the perspective of the limiting belief. Then, for the next time, identify where that's even coming from. Is it from a past experience? Is it just because you're afraid of change, of new things, right? And then identify what you're going to do so that you no longer have those same thoughts, or you're no longer fearful of change, okay? All of this is a part of developing a growth mindset. As we discussed before, it can take up to 21 days for a new pattern to become a habit. And then I think another 40 days for it to become something that you just naturally do. So you have to give yourself time, depending on, time to change, depending on how old you are, and think about these habits or these things that you've been doing since you were a little kid. And they're just something that are now just ingrained in you. And when you and maybe you have come to a point or a realization where you're just like, these habits are no longer working for me in my favor and I need to change. So you can take this opportunity now to identify what those things are and to start making the necessary changes. And of course, always remember, be gentle with yourself and be kind to yourself during this process. It's not always going to be easy. There's some things that are going to come very easy and very quickly to you. And then there might be things that might be a little bit harder. I know for me, like getting rid of the limiting beliefs is something that I worked on, like I went real tough and real hard on my limiting beliefs for like 6 months. And then I kind of like staggered and then had to pick back up. So maybe like for a year and a half, It takes time. Just be kind to yourself. You're um you're literally on this planet of Earth, which is like the school, right? I laughed earlier because in my mind's eye, I see like, you know, I saw like this soul falling to earth, going into this human being. And when you wake up, you know, coming through the birth canal, and you're like, oh, well, for me, I was a cesarean baby. So, you know, you come out and you're like, what am I doing here? What am I supposed to, what's going on? What am I, you don't remember anything, and you have to like figure it all out all over again. And then you finally remember what your life purpose is, and you start taking the necessary steps so that you can live within your life purpose. And you're just kind of like, this is hard. Why did I choose to come here? Right? But again, just be kind to yourself. Be gentle. Treat yourself like how you would treat other people who are learning something brand new for the first time. Treat yourself like that. Treat yourself like you are a newborn baby just trying to figure it all out, you know? Being gentle and kind, you know, be empathetic to yourself. Be compassionate to yourself, right? Be the nicest that you've ever been to anyone, to yourself. That's what I recommend during this process of change. To have a growth mindset, to relinquish the limiting beliefs, to relinquish the negative self-talk, to move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And you know, not everyone just has one or the other, right? Sometimes it's a little bit of both, you know? And that's the part where you kind of have to figure out like, well, where and what in what spaces of my life do I believe that I cannot change? And then what other spaces in my life do I believe where I can change? And you have to determine that part too. That's the hard part. One of the hard parts, you know? It's figuring out what your beliefs are, figuring out who you are, like truly. Hey, have you ever just sat down with yourself and asked your higher self, who am I? Who am I supposed to be? Who did I come here? Or not who did I come here to be? Yeah. Who am I supposed to be while I'm here? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? Right? That goes back to our previous lesson. Was it yesterday? Or was it on Tuesday where we were talking about what we used to do as children, what we liked to do when we were kids? What was something that just came natural? And I was talking about how I used to always draw the 1,000 petal lotus, and how when my great uncle passed away, how I talked him through and he was able to cross over. You know, things like that just came naturally. It was like, even at that young stage, I was kind of remembering who I was. You know, I wanted to be an astronaut because I just felt like I'd be a lot more comfortable in space than I would be on Earth, you know? So what are some of the things that you were naturally good at as a child, you know? That is what you can take into consideration of what you are supposed to do here in order to fulfill your life purpose, right? Even if it was something as, you know, you might look at it as being silly, but let's just say you were somebody who liked to play with Barbie dolls and get them dressed up. Like you were really like very meticulous about what you put on the Barbie doll and their clothes, right? Like maybe in some aspect you were preparing yourself to be a fashion designer or maybe a stylist for people, or maybe you were preparing yourself to be someone who sold fabric for a living, or, you know, things like that. Or maybe you were preparing yourself to be a store or boutique owner and the Barbie was like the mannequin and you were preparing them to be put in the window for, I don't know, maybe you had a big storefront window and you're preparing yourself to put the mannequins up, right? I don't know. Things like that. Think about the things that you did as a kid that you were really, really good at and that you just love doing. Those are the things that you should consider when trying to determine your life's purpose. And then from there, you start working on your limiting beliefs and removing them. And like I had shared before, you know, sometimes when you start having your limiting beliefs and you get to the point where you're like immediately they start and you are able to recognize that it's happening and then you're able to put a stop to it. You literally have to talk to your limiting beliefs, right? The devil on your shoulder, your fixed persona, your fixed mindset persona, your negative self-talk. Talk to it as if it were a human being in front of your face telling you that you cannot do something because you are not good enough, and tell that fool to shut up. So, you don't know what you're talking about, sir. Say that. Practice it. It may sound silly, it may sound goofy, but I'm telling you, be imaginative with this, right? And find something that works for you that is going to end that whole cycle of negative self-talk, right? Just talk to it like it's the homie, right? That's like just talking foolishness, you know? They don't know what they're talking about, but they're just talking to be talking because no one is telling them to stop talking. Like, shut up, you know? All that whoop-de-whoop and yakety-yak, like, cut it out. Well, you guys, I've had fun today. I've really had a lot of fun. I hope that what I've shared with you all today has really touched you in some way, that you're able to begin to implement these things into your life so that you too can change and you can transform and live in your life purpose. I thank you all so much for joining me. If you have come to this live, if you just joined, you can watch this replay on my YouTube channel. I'll go ahead and direct you to my profile once this live is over, and you can get all of the details there. I usually post the replays in the afternoon, like 4 o'clock or so. What else do I need to tell you guys? Please remember to like these videos. Please remember to share these videos. Please, if you would be so gracious as to follow me, I would appreciate that as well. And of course, all of these coaching sessions are 100% free. However, if you do feel it in your heart to give a donation, please send that to my Cash App, which is the Goddess Revival 333. That information is at the top of the... Oh, thank you for the follow, Fat Man Paul. I'm here for it. I'm going to go to your page because I like your name, Fat Man Paul. Feel free to leave a donation at the Goddess Revival 3333. That information is pinned at the very top of the screen, I believe, or you guys just go to the very top of the comments and it's there. But anyways, I hope you all learned something today, or something was said that touched your heart, and it is leading you in the path of change and transformation. Again, I am here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Let me see. I know yesterday I said I might come on tomorrow, which is Friday, but I don't think I will because we finished this section on growth mindset. So I'll be back on Tuesday. Oh my God, I almost forgot the date. So yeah, I'll be back on Tuesday, but I think I will be coming back on later on this afternoon and Fridays and on the weekends and Monday, because I want to start sharing my more of my gifts with y'all, more of like my clairvoyance and empath abilities and things like that. I think it'll be fun. Something different that I want to try. So why not? You know? And if you're not into that, that is okay, but that's what I do. All right. So let me go on. I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you have a great day. And as always, I love you and take care. All right. Bye.